A pedestrian is killed on a North State road. We're getting the facts on what happened. Plus, Shasta shakeup, the city council member who was handed recall papers tonight. And what we just learned tonight about a Reading PD officer who was arrested for DUI last month. This is KRCR News Channel 7 at 11.
This is KRCR News Channel 7 at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Mester. Our top story tonight, a person dies after being hit by a truck. We were there gathering the facts as officers cleaned up the accident scene tonight. Here's what we know about the crash. It happened on Oasis Road about 8 p.m. on the bridge just a mile east of Lake Boulevard. CHP says a truck was traveling westbound when a female walked into the path. She was eastbound and she walked right into that truck's path. Authorities believe the pedestrian was under the influence of alcohol. We're working with investigators to identify the victim. Stay with News Channel 7 for any new developments. Also new at 11, drama is unfolding in the city of Shasta Lake tonight after steps to get a council member to resign are put into place. I received an email from City of Shasta Lake Council Member Greg Watkins tonight. Here are the facts that he told me. He said Don Spurgeon and Brandy King stated they personally served Dolores Lucero with recall papers just before tonight's meeting got underway. Now, we've put in emails or calls to every council member for more information, but we still yet to hear back. We're going to keep you posted with any new developments. We're learning more about the Reading police officer who was arrested August 17th for DUI. KRCR News Channel 7 spoke with Reading CHP and Shasta County's district attorney, both telling us if they do decide to charge Matthew Zalesny, it's going to be for DUI. We worked on Zalesny's timeline. Here are the facts. Zalesny was arrested after being found in a patrol car in front of a friend's home at 3:30 in the morning on Lynbrook Loop off of Old 44 East Reading. The investigation into Zalesny was completed by the CHP and delivered to the DA's office on August 29th. No charges have been filed as of yet, but the district attorney's office has up to 1 year to do so. Both the CHP and the DA told us that despite being an officer, Zalesny will receive no special treatment. Recent changes, I should say, in how the Chico Police Department deals with gangs appears to be paying off. We got the facts on how well it's working. The city saw a spike in gang-related crimes during the first 3 months of 2011, shortly after a gang detective was reassigned in a cost-cutting move. To combat the increase in violence, the department temporarily enlisted help from other departments. Then last June, the gang and street crimes units were merged, providing more flexibility and a more permanent fix. Both officials say this isn't a magic bullet to solve a growing problem.
We expect gang activity to be cyclical. There are a number of things that affect gang-related activity, and we don't think that is going to necessarily change. We think we will be able to respond and deploy more effectively.
O'Brien says the biggest benefit of the change has been allowing the street crimes and gang units to coordinate their efforts and have a more immediate response to violent crimes. A sour tune for Reading and Chico Radio tonight. We received an email from General Manager Vince Shadrick tonight. He says due to a weak economy and a significant fall in revenue, Don Burton and 4 other valuable radio employees were laid off today. We're reaching out to those workers for comment. We'll have more when we hear from them. Well, fall is just about here, but it looks like the summer temperatures really didn't get that memo. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Kruger joins us now with a look at our first look forecast.
Yeah, that definitely is the case. And, for a mild summer that we've been experiencing here, it looks like Mother Nature says, this is the last week of summer, so let's make it feel like it. We're going to be looking at temperatures upper 90s to right around 100 degrees here over the next several days. Let's look at our forecast for tomorrow morning. Mostly clear skies with the temperature at 65, so not a bad start to your morning. Kind of cool, really, to start it off. By the noon hour, already up to the upper 80s to lower 90s, and then by the afternoon, we're talking upper 90s. There could be a few places over the next couple of days that could see that triple-digit reading here and there over the next couple of days, but it looks like we are going to see a nice little cool down by the weekend, and especially into the beginning of next week. We'll have more on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Mike. We're learning more about possible punishment for the Anderson police officer accused of raping and kidnapping a Millville woman he'd taken into custody. Prosecutors say they were forced to make a plea deal with 27-year-old Brian Benson because of a law loophole. Benson, as you may remember, was charged with raping and kidnapping a woman he arrested and was taken to jail for a traffic violation last year. A state law made it problematic for the district attorney to move forward with the case to charge Benson with rape. forcing them in turn to make a plea deal, reducing the charges to felony assault by a public officer and a misdemeanor charge of soliciting a lewd act. California law says it's not systematically considered rape, though, since the woman was not in jail when it allegedly happened. Now, we spoke with an attorney, and here are the facts that we found. The law says any person who is in jail cannot in any way consent to sexual conduct with an officer. But the law does say nothing about a person being transported to jail, and that there is your loophole. That means the sexual act allegedly committed could have been consensual. So Benson's lawyer could have made that argument. If Benson was convicted of the original charges, he could have gotten life in prison. Now, the most he could get is a year in jail with 3 years probation. Benson will be sentenced November 18th. We will have a news crew at that scene. The DA said this is the first time Shasta County has seen a case like this, and we wanted to speak to the community to see what they thought. The Shasta Women's Refuge tells KRCR that they are committed to providing assistance to victims of these crimes. Their mission is to work with the community on these issues because they say about 60% of women who are raped do not come forward. And with the recent decision on the Brian Benson case, they're afraid of the message that it's going to send to the community.
Our main concern is that it may prevent women in the future from feeling that they can report a rape, especially if an officer is involved. And so that hurts all of us, but it's just a tough situation.
The Women's Refuge also mentioned that they hope legislation takes a closer look at this state law, which they say needs to be reevaluated. Senior officials at the NTSB have already met with Nevada's governor as they work to figure out the cause of Friday's horrific plane crash in Reno. According to the NTSB, they have tools to help. Right now, they're looking specifically at the P-51 Mustang right there, which is the plane that crashed. Officials say the plane was equipped with a basic flight safety data system. So that means the plane's velocity level is recorded as well as altitude and engine performance. After more searching, we found officials are also looking at the plane's unique modifications. Those changes are described in a promotional video that you see right there on your screen. Now, we learned one of them upgraded the plane to let it fly about 500 miles per hour.
Anytime you modify an airplane that has been designed for one function to make it do another function, I think it makes it less safe.
Officials tell us they're also looking at photos taken seconds before that plane hit the ground Friday, including one that shows a piece of the tailwind missing. And then there's this photo that you see right there. It shows the cockpit with no person in sight. Investigators say that may be the biggest key, meaning the pilot, Jimmy Leeward, may have been unconscious and slumped over those controls. Leeward also added a forward-facing camera on his plane. Investigators have those memory cards, but authorities don't know what's on them yet. They could also help them answer what caused that airplane to crash. We're going to keep you posted with any new developments. Now, this crash and one in West Virginia over the weekend brought back memories of a plane crash that happened right here in Redding back in 1991. We want to warn you, though, this video is extremely graphic. Now, these pictures are of a 1958 T-34 that pulled out a maneuver and crashed, bursting into a ball of flames that you see right there. 9 people were injured by debris. Gordy Drysdale out of Stockton died in that crash. Richard Wilkinson went to his first Reading Air Show that year, and he recorded the crash, something he says he's never going to forget.
It's sort of a tragic thing to see somebody die right in front of you, you know. You don't expect that sitting there being a spectator that you're going to end up as part of the show, you know.
Wilkinson says he went to the Reno Air Races last year, and Friday's crash is not going to stop him from going to Reading's Air Show, which is happening this weekend. We wanted to know what's being done to make sure spectators are safe this weekend. We spoke with the chairman of the Reading Air Show. His name is Bill Wagner, and he says there are several precautions in place to make sure the 30,000 people expected to attend are going to be safe this weekend. Here are some of the regulations that we uncovered. All planes must stay at least 1,500 feet away from the crowd. Pilots cannot fly their maneuvers in the direction of spectators. Wagner says all the pilots are certified by the FAA and their routines are well rehearsed and they've been approved by officials. An estimated 14,000 people were kicked out of the military because of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell law. But tomorrow the armed forces are going to change that. We'll have a story coming up. Plus, another aircraft crash. We'll tell you why the military is behind this one. We'll explain right after the break.